Welcome back to Crisco's Corner, unfiltered commentary, not your truth, the real truth. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back from timcast.com. Ukraine says they have supplied 18,000 weapons to civilians. Anti-gun leftists celebrate their efforts. Yeah. Now, there's really two stories here. One, that Ukraine is giving out weapons to their civilians to help resist the Russian invasion. And the other one is the absolutely up leftists who applaud it. Let's read on, you'll see. Before I go on, I want to say I'm still getting badly shadow banned, so anybody that can share this link to this video anywhere on their social media, even email it to friends or family or wherever they want to put it to show it on other websites or even on your own YouTube channel, please do. I encourage that. That way it gets around the shadow banning. Let's read on. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oksy Reznikov has claimed that his government has supplied 18,000 submachine guns and ammunition to civilians and militia fighters since the start of the Russian invasion. Yeah, good idea. The move has been widely celebrated by leftists who stand against an armed citizenry in the United States. You know, in a previous episode, I basically said that just tell Putin that Ukraine won't not be in NATO and a couple other small things to give him and he'll back off. And I was wrong. I was actually wrong. And I have changed my mind. You know, it's tough to admit you were wrong, but I was. President Zelensky tweeted about the weapon giveaway on Thursday. We will give weapons to anyone who wants to defend our country. Zelensky said in an English language announcement on Twitter. Be ready to support Ukraine in the squares of our cities. Now, here's the thing. Before we get into the retard, and I want to say it right out, retard occupied Democrats, I think Putin didn't realize. Now, my understanding is only a third of the Russian soldiers in Ukraine. The rest are all either in the Russian border in Belarus. So only a third of the actual foot soldiers are in Ukrainian territory. And they'll probably be putting them in soon as Kiev falls and the government flees. They go into exile. They're going to get a guerrilla war that's going to last for years. Now, people say history repeats itself. Actually, history rhymed. The Soviets, back then, not Russia, but Soviets, learned a bad but important lesson in Afghanistan when they got their asses handed to them, thanks to the Americans supplying the guerrilla fighters that were fighting the Soviets with enough ammunition to take down almost all their helicopters, so it became pointless and they withdrew. And of course, we did the same thing over and over. England has done it in the previous century over and over. France has even done it in Indochina over and over. So has the Dutch in Africa, and so has the Germans in Africa, and on and on and on. Everybody thinks that this time it will be different. Well, it's not going to be. And do you think for a minute that countries in Europe or even rich billionaires in Europe and the United States won't be buying arms to send to these guys, these Ukrainian citizens on the QT, and over time you'll get bombings and you'll get explosions and it'll be just guerrilla warfare? Because there's one thing even the British didn't learn in the American Revolution. You can't beat somebody that won't give up. You don't have to win the war. You just have to not lose it. Ask Vietnam. They got slaughtered. It was 15, 20, 25 to 1 ratio deaths to Americans. 20 times, 25 times, but yet it's still now North and South Vietnam are the same because you can't beat people that won't give up, whether they're righteous or not or whether they're evil or not. It's just the way it is. It's human nature. It's been repeated throughout history over and over and over. And like I said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. Now, let's get to the Occupy Democrats. You're going to love this one. Occupy Democrats, an organization for over 250,000 followers on Twitter and 10 million on Facebook. Facebook are usually older people than Twitter, so I'm really surprised. Tweeted, breaking, Ukraine's interior minister announces that 10,000 automatic rifles have been handed out to the citizens of Kiev as they prepare to fight tooth and nail to defend their homes against Putin's invasion. RT, if you stand with it, we brave Ukrainian people. Yeah, retweet if you stand with a great and brave Ukrainian people. Now, here's their tweet. And as you see, Retweet if you stand with the brave Ukrainian people. Well, here's a tweet from them not too long ago, from June 16th. The same occupied them, we'll say mental pygmies / special needs people. No civilian needs an AR-15, regardless whatever mental gymnastics you do. You are a very special breed of stupid. Yeah. And there it is. Isn't that interesting? You are a special breed of stupid, but here they are saying it's okay to arm 10,000 automatic rifles. But Americans don't deserve it, even though we have in our Constitution the right to bear arms. And I can't think of a country in the world that does. That's how effed up these people are. The tweet had nearly 10,000 likes by the time of publishing. A video of the weapons being given away in Kiev was posted to social media. The caption reads, "In Kiev, handing out weapons to people." Now, I'm not going to play the sound. It's a short video. Let's watch. And it shows them there handing out guns for Ukrainian citizens. And these guns will eventually filter over time into the guerrilla war that will take place over who knows how many years or even decades. You can't win this. You can't win this. And Putin has to know this. Prior to the giveaway, Ukrainians were overwhelming gun shops after a law was passed on Wednesday allowing them to carry weapons. The new law states Ukrainians are now allowed acquisition, possession, alienation, carrying, transportation, repair, use of civilian firearms and ammunition. With a state of emergency set to be unveiled, the country's parliament approved a draft law that gives Ukrainians permission to carry firearms. Previously, they were forbidden from leaving home with lethal weapons. In other words, you can protect your home, but you can't leave with them. That's what a lot of the progressive special needs people think here. Gun shops have sold out of some weapons, the AR-10s and AR-15s, but assault rifles, the business now exceptionally busy. Yeah, I'll bet. Most Ukrainians, boys and girls, learn how to shoot at school. And that used to be in a lot of places here in the U.S. It teaches them gun safety, gun respect. About 400,000 people are estimated to have combat experience. Yeah, that's a big deal. Following Vladimir Putin's 2014 annexation of Crimea and the Moscow-supported armed uprising in the east, The Guardian reported. Now, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I wish the Ukrainian people all God's grace and give them the determination and backbone to, they're never going to win this war, but they can win by not losing. It might take a year, 2 years, 3 years. It depends. If Putin overextends himself and tries to go on the Balkans, he's already threatened Finland and Sweden. Finland borders Russia. So does Poland, some other NATO countries. Did Putin bite off more than he can chew? I believe he did. I believe he made a huge blunder. What he should have done is just gone in those so-called separatist rebel states in eastern Ukraine and just took those over and fortified himself there. At least he had, it wasn't much, but at least he had a little bit of moral ground to stand on. But now, no. Now the whole world's against him. And even I heard some Chinese banks aren't cooperating with him now. Now the thing of it is, though, there was a report on Tucker Carlson that we had some satellite photos of Russian installments and troops, and we shared that with the Chinese, who in turn showed the Russians that we knew. You got to be kidding me. Why isn't anybody at least, if not fired, go to jail? But there it is. So God's wishes, God's grace to the Ukrainian people. I know they're very religious and they're very staunch, determined people. And they've been through a lot in the last 100 years. Just the millions and millions and millions that starved under the Soviet system after the Bolsheviks took over in the revolution in Russia, just starved them out. It was just horrific. It made what happened to the Jews in the Holocaust, even though I'm not putting that down, it was on that level and higher. And yet it's not talked about much. But they remember it was their grandparents and their great-grandparents. They don't forget. And so their determination hopefully will get them through so they don't lose this. And Russia puts their tail between their legs and goes back. We'll see. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.